Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast. I'm Reverend Theresa and I am delighted that you're here with me this morning. Very excited. I'm very excited to be back here. You know what? We have been love streaming for a year now. For over a year. Last week was actually our anniversary. I wasn't here to celebrate with you last week and I did miss you very much. I was celebrating something else, celebrating my beautiful daughter Carly and her impending marriage to Ian, and we were in Tampa having her bridal shower, and love is in the air for sure, and it's here too. It is here too. I love what we've been doing for the last year. I miss seeing you in person, and I do expect that there'll be some changes coming. And as I just shared with those that are on our broadcast this morning, I don't know what they are. I don't know when they are. I don't know how it unfolds, but you know what? I love it. I love trusting that divine impulse that is creating itself as this community, as the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast, because that's what's happening. There is this urge, this surge, this grand idea in the mind of God, and it's unfolding itself by means of me and by means of each one of you. And that's what's happening. So last week, we had a fabulous service while I was gone, a fabulous celebration of life. It's what I'm dubbing now the all-male review with Rev G and Bobby and Len Seligman. And it was fabulous. It was fabulous. If you didn't tune in last week, and I know we also had the time change and that threw some people off, go back and listen to it. It's integral to what we're doing this morning too. This whole month is about opening to possibilities, opening to those infinite possibilities, those grand ideas with the capital G-I, the grand ideas that Spirit has for our lives. And we're looking specifically at the spiritual practice of visioning and how that happens. And we began the month with our spiritual practice, which we always do on the first Sunday of the month, with Julie Birch leading us in a mindfulness meditation practice of attuning ourselves, mind and body, to feel the presence of the divine, to feel that, to hone our intuitive impulse, our listening skills. And those kinds of practices are so essential for living a spiritual life. They really are key to living a spiritual life. And so we're focusing on that all month long. Visioning is a spiritual technology that was designed by Michael Beckwith of Agape in LA. Fabulous spiritual community. Michael Beckwith is a Science of Mind trained minister, went through the same schooling process that I did. He also has a doctorate of divinity. And it's a fabulous, fabulous process that I encourage all of us to have become a way of life for us. So last week, Emil then picked up with one of the crucial steps in this process of visioning, which is the releasing and letting go of obstacles that would stand in our way of this divine circuit being open and clear. And today, arms wide open. Arms wide open. Mine, yours, are arms wide open to receive, to embrace, to embody that divine vision, the qualities of life that want to be expressed through us. So that's what we're looking at this morning. And let us begin together by going within. And let us unify ourselves. Join in a unified rhythm of breath right here and right now. If you would, breathing in with me 3 times, let us orchestrate ourselves around that divine impulse which is already within, which has created each and every one of us. Breathing in. And breathing out. Join me in letting go of everything that transpired this morning. Breathing in. Releasing it. Bringing ourselves present in our bodies in this moment. Breathing in. Letting go, breathing out of everything that would distract us from this moment. Let's do one more breath in. And out. What I know is that in this moment is the fullness of life. Anything, everything that I would ever seek to know, to experience, to express, to be, is right here, right now, available to me. What I know is that there's only one life. There's only one thing ever happening. We can call it creative intelligence, loving intelligence, energy, essence, universal creativity, spirit, God. Whatever name that feels right to you, know that it is here. You are immersed in it, filled with it, made of it. You are indeed the expression of it now. I know this truth for myself, and I speak my word in first person for each person that listens in at this moment, that is connecting with us in real time, and in listens later on. It matters not. There is no time in this universal mind of the one creative impulse. It is forever and always coming from that invisible, infinite source of possibility, infinite good, into the realm of the visible, into form. And it does so by means of me. And so right here and right now, I let go, I release anything known or unknown that would stand in the way of me being a complete and total open portal for divine expression. Knowing that it is unique as me, that the one multiplies and diversifies itself and peoples this planet. I'm so grateful to know that truth and to look upon my life as sacred and that of another's as sacred, as a sacred, authentic expression. My life is lifted by this knowing. I am inseparable from the source of all knowledge, all creativity, all order, and orchestration is always from on high. And so let us ask now, in the sanctity of our own consciousness and our own conscious use of the one mind, that which connects all and expresses all and gives life to all. I ask now, what is it that Spirit would have me know this day? And I listen. What is it that Spirit would have me know this day? And I claim and affirm for each one of us that it is with ease and grace, that it is our natural unfoldment, it is the evolutionary impulse within each one of us to be that, to know that, to grasp that at a deeper level than ever before in this moment. And so for throughout this morning, throughout our celebration of life here this morning, we are awakened anew to this idea. Be it through the music, through its words or sharing, through an impulse within ourselves that that awakens to the truth of who and what we are, I claim our full and complete knowledge. That what it is for us to know is done already. It's with ease and grace that we lean back, lean in, fall into the abyss of love and say yes to this thing called life. So be it. Amen. And so it is. Well, we have a treat for you this morning. It's springtime. Who would we have? None other than our fairy Elaine to usher in spring for us this morning and to share her practitioner wisdom through song. Help me welcome Elaine Silver.
Good morning. This is a song I wrote a long time ago. It says a copyright 1999. And it was through my work with Science of Mind that some of these truths came through. It's called Pendulum. You know, things go like this for a while, they go like that for a while, back and forth. Sometimes it's a minute, sometimes it's 5,000 years. But I think that the message is to find the balance and to trust the process. So pendulum, especially for Theresa this morning. My eyes are open, my vision is clear, my heart once broken has mended the fear. Time is the healer, the pendulum swings, one voice, one silent, so sweetly now sings. Embrace the laughter, embrace the gifts of life, embrace the universe, embraced by the light. Embrace the challenges, embrace the pain, embrace the sunshine, embraced by the rain. Time is the healer, the pendulum swings, one voice, one silenced, so sweetly now sings. My eyes are open, my vision is clear, my heart once broken has mended the fear. And so it is. And now I'd like to bring on Jackie Riker, Reverend Jackie.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you today. With arms wide open, I want to share some words that have come through to me from my divine guidance that go along with what we've talked about so far today. And the first is very short. It is, fear nothing, resist nothing, forgive everything, Be peace. Embrace grace. I'll repeat that. Fear nothing. Resist nothing. Forgive everything. Be peace. Embrace grace. When that came through to me, I said, okay, I'll be working on that the rest of my life. And that's great. That's fine, because that's why we're here. So the other piece I want to share with you is called Rise and Shine. Each day, each hour, every minute, you have the choice of how you will vibrate and what frequency will be sent out into the infinite source field. This is the same as prayer, except it is every thought you have creating your life in the next moment. This is what Ernest Holmes meant with the quote, "You cannot afford the luxury of a negative thought." How is a negative thought a luxury? Well, when you have felt angry, wounded, judgmental, betrayed, guilty, and afraid, it usually involves blaming or projection onto another person. This puts the cause out there rather than in here. And in here is the only place where you truly have power of choice. No matter what you have been taught, you cannot control most external circumstances. You can only magnetize to you what you are vibrating. Those low frequency emotions draw more of the same, those negative thoughts. True power is in being mindful of each thought and choosing the high frequency thoughts of peace, wisdom, love, compassion, acceptance, open-heartedness. This is the spiritual practice of a lifetime and magnetizes expansive opportunities to create a life beyond the dreams and visions. What you are actually doing is resetting your default mode. Most people have a go-to emotional reaction that is their default mode. Discover what that is for you, and the next time you go to it, mindfully and lovingly shift to the higher frequency vibration of what you wish to become. The peace, joy, wisdom, and freedom. And if you judge yourself about going back to the old default mode, you will stay in that lower frequency. So no judging allowed. This practice is beautiful in its simplicity, and like any change you make in yourself, it requires patience, perseverance, and practice. And the rewards are magnificent as you become aware of how you feel in the higher frequency emotions and observe what you begin to attract to you. This is being in training to become heaven on earth, and the commitment to be a change agent for all life on earth. You will make a difference. Rise and shine today and every day. And now back to our dear Fairy Elaine.
Here we are. This is a song that I wrote a couple years ago, and it shows up on my Ernest CD, singing a lot of the words of Ernest Holmes and myself. And it's called Be Still and Listen. And then I wrote a new part that takes into consideration what Theresa sent out in the email. So let's be still and listen. Be still and listen to the heart of God. Be still and know the Spirit's sacred nod, opening to the flow, opening as I know. Be still and listen to the mind of God. Be still and know the Spirit's sacred nod. Time now to begin. From where I have been, I am opening to the wisdom from within. Be still and listen to the heart of God. Be still and know the Spirit's sacred nod, opening to the flow, opening as I know, embracing and embodying a brand new way of being, aligning with my visioning. I'm creating what I'm seeing. Eyes wide open, arms wide open. I'm wide open to what's possible. Be still and listen to the mind of God. Be still and know the Spirit's sacred nod. Time now to begin. From where I have been, I am opening to the wisdom from within. Embracing and embodying this brand new way of being, aligning with my visioning. I'm creating what I'm seeing. Eyes wide open, arms wide open. I'm wide open to what's possible. Listen in the visioning of my heart song. Listen in the visioning of God's heart song. Listen, listen, listen in the visioning. And so it is.
Oh, so perfect. So perfect. Elaine and Reverend Jackie both. Just fabulous. You know, I do the schedule for the readers like months in advance. I do usually a quarter at a time. So it was December, I think, when we had this schedule that Reverend Jackie would be on with us this morning sharing. And she's a perfect person to have shared with us this morning. So thank you again. And Elaine too, you know, both of them, I think, demonstrate so beautifully what I want to talk about this morning, is really living in alignment with that movement, that urge, that surge, that flow of spirit that is always seeking an expression through us, always seeking. And so again, there's just infinite possibilities available to us when we live in that way. The Centers for Spiritual Living, centers all over the globe, are discussing this month. And typically I get the outlines, and I might use a quote or two, or I might use the title or not, and that kind of thing. But I have to tell you that this morning I am utilizing a lot of what was provided for us, because it was done by Reverend Jeffrey Ryan. And Jeffrey not only is a colleague of mine, he is a friend of mine, and he is the chair of the Visioning Council that I sit on, the Visioning team that I sit on for the Centers for Spiritual Living. And I know this man lives this practice. And there's also an article in the Science of Mind magazine this month on visioning that Jeffrey wrote. So please do take a look at that. Again, as I said in my opening, we're looking at this spiritual practice of visioning, and how we align ourselves, how we embrace specifically today, how we embrace and embody and become that grand idea that wants to happen as our lives. And part of that process, as I already alluded to too, was what Reverend Emil, what Rev G started for us last week with release and let go. We want to shed all those obstacles that would stand in our way. So today we're looking to really engage and commit to this deeper embodiment of what it means to allow life to move through us, to have a vision that's coming forth from us. And this is different than visualizing, very different than visualizing. And I said this in the first Sunday of the month, but visioning is to catch something that's beyond our imagination. And oftentimes what we hear in the practice of visioning is not something we would have said, and oftentimes not necessarily something that from an ego level we want to hear. But it's what we need to hear. And there's a big difference there. And when we fall into that mode of trusting that guidance, life really shifts in a big way. And I speak to my experience of this. I've been visioning for many, many years now, and my life has taken a different direction and a different flow, and when I don't resist it, it's easy. So there's a real key for you. We want to live in alignment with this. As Jackie said, as Reverend Jackie said, to be peace and to embrace grace. Okay, that's what came to her. Yours might be different, but again, it's not like a big to-do list, is it? But when we embrace and embody, when we are living in alignment with that, it is a moment by moment sense of awareness. So we're going to talk about how we can get to a place of alignment then this morning. This is an evolutionary idea for the Centers for Spiritual Living to be teaching and promoting. And I say evolutionary in the sense that it's a newer document, but it is one of our guiding principles, one of our guiding documents, the global vision, that states, we see a world in which every person lives in alignment with his or her highest spiritual principle, emphasizing unity with God and connection with each other, a world in which individually and collectively we are called to a higher state of consciousness and action. And this comes from our roots. This comes from the very first operating document that we had in this teaching, what is known as the Science of Mind Declaration of Principles, which was first seen in public in 1927 in the very first issue of the Science of Mind magazine. That magazine's been distributed, published and distributed since 1927. And the very first issue and every issue since then is the Declaration of Principles. And in that we read, we believe in the direct revelation of truth through the intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. Anyone. That's you. That's you. See, direct revelation is not just for a few chosen ones. It is the result of a spiritual practice. It is the result of a spiritual practice. And so my intention for our time together today, my intention is that there's a switch that's ignited within you, a corner that's turned, a commitment that's made to a deeper spiritual life, where more creativity and more fun and more play and more joy is added to your life, is released from you into life. This is spring. Yesterday was our first day of spring. And so something new is wanting to emerge from you. It's your sacred yes to grasping and allowing visioning to take hold in your life. That's my intention. You know, it's all about rebirth and recommitment. And so whatever's been holding you back is released. That's my intention. And I ask you to join me in the boldness, in the bold claim to live your life authentically, to live your best life, to say yes to those intuitive hits, those hunches, that gut feeling, the words that you hear, the feelings that you get, that you know are spirit driven. There is a dynamic partnership that awaits you. A dynamic partnership. So a synergy and an energy of the divine is released from within you. As individual expressions, individual incarnations of the divine, we all have access. We all have access to this infinite wisdom and this creative intelligence. It flows through us. And as Reverend Jeffrey says in his article, he's paraphrasing Ernest Holmes, that to the degree that we set our previous ideas aside and become aware, conscious of this presence, we live it. We live it. We express it to the degree. Ernest Holmes says that over and over. So see, we can intentionally cultivate or exercise our intuitive nature through the practice of visioning. And I'm going to come back to that. But let's look again at this idea of release. It could be something as simple as, what is complete? What's complete in my life? What can I let go of that I don't need to drag forward? What's complete? It can be as simple as that. And then what's next? What's next for me to embrace? What higher expression wants to emerge as me? See, it's already laying latent within you. It's unexpressed, but it's there, present. It's a natural evolutionary step for each one of us to make. And I want to say over and over again that there's nothing to fear in that. And I recognize that we have a tendency to do that. You know, thy will be done, like it's God's will. Oh my God, like it's going to be somehow against you. It's for the greater expression of life as you. Nothing to fear. Nothing to fear, my loves. So we do not manifest the vision. That's the other thing to know. It's not hard work. We don't have to get out, you know, our notebook and our pencil and map out how this is going to happen. We do not manifest the vision. We allow it by aligning with it. We allow it by aligning with it. We become the avenue, the portal through which it moves. We are the hands and feet of the divine when we get our bloated nothingness out of the way, as Emerson said, so that the vision just comes forth. I feel that in this community. I feel that in the leadership of this community. I feel that in the way this community is unfolding who and what we are in Sarasota and the world, because I trust that divine impulse. And I trust the visioning process that has brought us to this point. Our best good your best good, your infinite possibilities already exist. Again, you're not creating them. They're simply seeking an outlet. They're seeking an outlet through you. In an interview that Dr. Michael Beckwith had with the Science of Mind magazine back in 1996, December of 1996, he said, "We pray affirmatively, not about how to accomplish the vision, but rather about the ways in which we need to grow. What qualities do we need to embody?" These are growth opportunities for us. He calls them our growing edge. Our growing edge. And so, probably, if you were to ask yourself right here and right now, you know what your growing is. Ask yourself, what do I need to know this day? What do I need to learn? Listen. I trust you got a hit. You know, this teaching says, change your thinking, change your life. But I would be remiss in saying that it's all about change your thinking, change your life. It requires you to practice. You are being called upon to practice. If you really want to change your life, change your experience of life, become that divine expression, then we need to practice. We need to practice. To change your thoughts and to have them stick and to embody them, you have to change some habits too. To release old thoughts and old stories and old beliefs, old ways of being, it requires intentional, conscious practice. Here's a couple examples. You want to be a positive influence on other people. Yeah. Well, you need to stop engaging in gossip. Stop passive-aggressive joking. Maybe you want to build a retirement nest egg. You want to have more financial stability in your life. Well, you probably need to stop spending money frivolously. You maybe need to start looking at how you can save money intentionally. See, our growing edge. It requires new behaviors, new skills. So the fact is, though, that you already are love incarnate. You already are love incarnate. You already are an inspiration to others. You already are one with divine abundance, flow. But you've lived a lot of years not believing that truth. You've lived a lot of years as if that wasn't your truth. So it may take a little effort. It may take a little conscious intentionality on your part to make this evolutionary step. But it's natural. It's natural for us. It's natural for each one of us. And we can sharpen our skills, the skills that would support this vision that wants to move through us. Sharpen our skills of unity, of feeling that oneness, feeling that expression of the divine uniquely as it wants to show itself to the world through us. Yeah? We can become comfortable with this animating force of life. As it calls us to wake up, as it calls us to come alive to who and what we're here to be and to do. Richard Strauss Heckler, in his book, The Art of Somatic Coaching, fabulous book, I am so loving it. He talks about this is how we show up. This is how we're being in the world, like how we're showing up in the world and whether or not we're in alignment, right, with our highest and best good, with that grand vision that wants to come forward, or even with our core values of what we say we believe. Do we live in alignment with that? You know, what happens and what he talks about in this book is that our bodies get stuck in childhood beliefs, and then we fail to live in a way that's supportive of our highest and best goods. Our bodies hold on to stories. We store them and then carry them with us. Have you ever had, I've had this experience, where you've had a massage and you've cried? It was simply a release of something. I've gotten to the point with my life where tears are just tears and I allow them to flow and I don't necessarily have to know what they are. I let them go. I let it go. I'm releasing an old story. I'm releasing an old idea and I let it go. So to take those examples a little further, how about the child that's told you're not good enough? Or the child that's not allowed to express their voice, to express their opinions about things, that are told to be quiet. Can you see that adult today, maybe this is you, maybe it is someone you know, that carries their physical posture in a way that story is acting out? It's how they're showing up in the world. The shoulders are a little hunched. They fail to make eye contact with you, unable to speak their truth. What we want to do is we want to be able to live a freely spiritual life, existence, is we want to be able to release those ideas and those behaviors that are holding us back and to embody new ones. We are energy. We are energetic beings. There's nothing else that exists, right? We are energetic beings. Science tells us that. And we are made of one source and one substance. In his book, the author says, this energy is at once animating the tissue of the body, animating the tissue, and simultaneously is the tissue. That's the depth of what I'm talking about. That's the depth of the embodiment that we want to have, that we want to own as our lives, that we want to express that envision, to live it, to raise our shoulders back, to look life straight ahead, and to be that which God is calling us to be. And the very first step is a step of awareness. Awareness of what we're feeling. Are you aware of what you're feeling right now? What are you telling yourself? What are the stories at any given moment? We want to develop a keen awareness, a mindfulness of that. Are you aware of what your body is telling you? Maybe it needs to tell you something that you have previously failed to hear. What is your body telling other people? Like the shoulders. Confidence, lack of confidence. And what more importantly, most importantly, are you telling the universe? What are you telling the universe? Are your arms wide open? Are our fists clenched? Are we hunched? We are always creating from that which we are thinking and believing and being. I encourage you again, and my gosh, I say this like every Sunday, to join Julie Birch's meditation on Thursday evenings. It's free. It's free. And it is such a great process. So the good news is we are evolutionary beings, growing and learning and expressing and exploring and expanding is what we do. It's what nature does. It's the life cycles. We're right here in spring. What a better time for us to be talking about this. We go through cycles. There's birth, there's death, there's completion, there's renewal. Yeah? And so when we vision, we're asking that. What needs to be released? What needs to die off? What needs to be birthed in me? Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. We are what we repeatedly do. We may need some new practices, some new spiritual practices. We need to expand upon meditation, spiritual mind treatment, and visioning, so that we can embody at a cellular level this vision that wants to live as us. You know, last week, Reb G and Len both, and neither one of them knew what I was going to talk about today, We're doing gestures. We're releasing as this. We're accepting the divine as this. You hear me use often in my prayers. I lean in, I release, I let go, I fall into the abyss of love. Yeah, we're raising and praising all the time. Allow your language and your movements in prayer to be expressive, to be that enthusiasm for life, for the life that wants to be expressed through us. Reverend Jeffrey in the magazine says that embracing is an act of receptivity and implies a level of enthusiasm. I agree 100%. We can't have experience if we're unwilling to receive. And so when we're visioning, we ask, what must I embrace? What must I be receptive to? What possibilities am I open to? What opportunities for growth do I welcome? What ideas do I invite into my consciousness? What changes do I wrap my arms around, hold lovingly, and nurture? What serves to transform me in my continual evolution? This is what we do. Embracing is an idea of consciousness, of opening ourselves in consciousness, and embodying has taken it to a deeper level. The definition of embody is to be an expression of, to give tangible, visible form to an idea. That's what we do in visioning. We give tangible, visible form to an idea through us, by means of us. Life is forever coming from the invisible into the visible, into form, by means of us, by means of you, and by means of me. So remember, we don't make this happen. We allow it to happen. It already is. And the possibilities for your life are infinite. And it starts with an embrace. What will you welcome with open arms today? What will you welcome with open arms today? I'm going to do a little shift today in our Zoom social time. Instead of chit-chatting or having you answer specific questions about the message, we are going to vision together. So make sure you have a piece of paper and a pencil, and we're going to vision. And we're going to vision again next Sunday, and we may just continue for a while. It's a practice that I wholeheartedly believe will give a shift and an uplift to your life, and therefore to the entire world. I am so grateful for you and your willingness to live life large. And so it is.
Thank you, Theresa. Yay! So I wrote this song last year for the springtime. And today is the first full day of spring. And I called it It's Springtime and I'm Alive. And then kind of for Easter. But it is the resurrection season where things come alive again. And so I've written some other words. I'm going to just see what happens with this. I watch with the eyes of God, seeing everything and being everywhere. I'm feeling with the heart of God. It's springtime and I'm alive. The high watch is the mind of God, knowing everything and loving everyone. The high watch is the soul of God. It's springtime and I'm alive. There's freedom in the knowing. I'm rising and I'm growing with the faith of a newborn baby. It's springtime and I'm alive. Christ within has risen. I forgive and I'm forgiven. It's the resurrection season. It's springtime and I'm alive. I watch with the eyes of God, seeing everything and being everywhere. I'm feeling with the heart of God. It's springtime and I'm alive. Affirming divine order, it's a spiritual transformer, confirming the perfection. It's springtime and I'm alive. The high watch is the mind of God, knowing everything and loving everyone. The high watch is the soul of God. It's so good to be alive. It's springtime and I'm alive. It's springtime and we're alive. It's so good to be alive.
Yes, it is good to be alive, alive in the heart of God. And I have to say that our Reverend Theresa was alive in the heart of God. This talk was coming straight from the heart and straight through her heart. So, wow. I'm going to have to go back and listen to what I said last week. I got referenced so much. So sometimes when it's coming through, we don't necessarily hear and see what is happening. I do know what's happening right now, and it's our time to support our center, the time to participate in the flow of the universe. As it's been said already, it is spring, the first full day of spring today, and means we're blossoming forth as individuals, in nature, as everything. I'm seeing trees in flower in my neighborhood, trees leafing out, new growth, all that good stuff, and it's time for us to do the same thing. And we can do that through giving, because we create the flow, we create the life, we create that aliveness. And in that, we support this wonderful thing called the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast. I believe Evan is posting the various ways that you can support the center on the Facebook and YouTube pages. And start a practice if you don't have it already. Start something new. Step out into something new with confidence, knowing that as we create the space by giving something forward, that something fills that space immediately. New opportunities, other gifts, who knows what it might be, but we can be open in this moment. So I just take a moment to bless the time of the offering, the time and the practice and the way of being in it, that we can grow into a new practice, into a growing practice of flowing alive in the heart of God, being in that flow, allowing it to flow forth from us all the time, because as it flows forth from us, it flows into us. So I am in this moment grateful for each gift that is given, and grateful for each giver that is giving, and I know that it includes the hearts that are giving, the minds that are giving, the spiritual nature of each of us that is giving in this moment. It is good, and it is God, and it is done, and so it is. And now, over to Bobby.
Oh, thank you, Rev G. I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on. I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on.
Thank you. Thank you. You can stay here because I'm going to do my announcements really super quick because I talked long this morning, but I was so excited about what I had to share with you. I want to just say to you, if you are interested in really honing your skill around visioning, I would love to work with you on that. And if you are a member, I offer one free session, a prayer session a year for you. Let's vision together. Let's do a personal training. How about that? I'm happy to support you in your spiritual processes, and this is one that I truly believe in, as you can tell. You want to be on our email list if you want to be plugged in and tuned in and turned on by what's going on. We've got classes and Julie's meditation, and you get to hear who's coming up next and all that kind of stuff. And our ways of giving are always on there, and occasionally there's pictures of the sacred garden and whatever. So make sure that you're on our email list. And then the key is open them, read them, and share this with your friends too if it's something that you think they'd be interested in. Please do pass this message along. And with that, you can go to our website, which is CSLCulturalCoast.org. There you can sign up for the newsletter. And with that, I'm going to leave and post the Zoom link for our visioning session this afternoon. We're going to be visioning. We're going to chat too, but we're going to vision. And with that, you can close us out. Thanks. Thank you so much, Emil and Jackie and Elaine, for a beautiful, beautiful morning, beautiful flow. That's what happens when we trust life.
And don't forget, if you would like prayer support, email prayer@CSLCulturalCoast.org. And we're going to close up with Ricky Byer's song called I Release. Same one as last week. Same one Rev G let us in last week. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. And I am only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit, and I'm only here for God. There was a time in my life, thought I'd have to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. Didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go, let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. And I am only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. I am only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. I am only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit, and I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit, and I am only here for God.